All right, our next segment is brought to you by AIM, the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, a national nonprofit created exclusively to support independent mortgage brokers.
Well, last week, the Fed cut the federal funds rate by 1/4 of a percentage point. And joining us now to talk all about how the Fed's decision is affecting the real estate market is AIM Chairman Anthony Casa. Anthony, welcome back to Cheddar. It's so great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so how does a 1/4 point decrease in the federal funds rate affect home buying?
The thing is, the Fed only controls the shortest term rates. The bond investors is what really controls long-term rates. So what we're seeing is, for the very first time, or one of the unique times in history where long-term rates are actually lower than short-term rates. And what that's a sign of is the market basically telling, the Fed that they're expecting a slowdown. They're expecting potentially a recession. So as far as how that's actually impacting the market, right now the 10-year Treasury is right below 1.7. Interest rates are very close to all-time lows from where we were just a couple weeks ago. And as long as this trade war is continuing to go on, and as long as there is an expectation of a slowdown, you can expect interest rates to be very low for the foreseeable future.
Okay, I think a lot of traders certainly liking that. In some other news here, the impact of Hurricane Dorian estimated at around $7 billion. How is that impacting the real estate market?
It's definitely going to have a short-term impact on real estate, but the bigger thing is the accumulation of the fact that this is the second major hurricane in 12 months that hit that specific area. So, Florence was a year ago. Now you have two major hurricanes that impacted that market. So that's going to have some long-term ramifications on the home buyers in that market. They're going to be less likely to want to be there long-term, commit to buying a home versus renting because of the fear of another hurricane. So there's definitely an impact on that local market.
Wow, that's a shocking number.
Yeah, big numbers.
I want to talk student loans. It's something we talk about a lot here on Cheddar. One of the biggest reasons right now that young people specifically can't buy a home. How can independent mortgage brokers actually help millennials who are thinking about and entering the home market?
Well, there's a couple ways, and this is really one of the biggest reasons why you work with an independent mortgage broker is their focus isn't going to be transactional in nature. They're going to be really the home ownership advisor that's looking at the long-term picture for that consumer. So it's one part is getting them in the house that they want to buy. The second part is putting them in a position to understand that this is a financial tool that you can actually leverage in the future to take cash out of the equity of the home to pay off student loans if that's what you choose to do. So it's more or less an education of not just how to get in the home, but put yourself in a position where if you invest in the home, renovate the home and increase the value and it appreciates, you'll be in a situation to be able to leverage the equity that's in the home to pay off debt.
Okay, look, for many years, industries bemoan the fact that millennials are not buying homes and that it did create a gap in the industry. So now that interest rates are low, has the gap narrowed at all?
The gap is closing, but there are barriers right now. The two biggest barriers that we're seeing is, number one, there's a lot of consumers that think you have to put down 20% to buy a home, and that's just not true. And that's why you work with an independent mortgage broker, because they're going to be able to talk to you about the lower down payment options, as low as 0% down. The other thing that's a barrier is the fact that, rents are rising. So up until now, rents have been slowly kind of less than, it was cheaper to rent than it was to own a home. But with rents rising, you're going to start to see more people look at home ownership as a better option because it'll be cheaper to buy than it is to rent.
What about the next generation of home buyers? We focus a lot on millennials. We are certainly millennials, but Gen Z increasingly starting to get into their 20s, graduated from college. How are they thinking about home buying?
Well, I think it's, this will be the first generation that's truly digital in nature. The millennial generation didn't grow up with a computer. They didn't grow up with iPads and iPhones. So this will be the first generation that's truly digitally driven. So I think that's going to have a major impact on the way that they go about the process. They're going to be more likely to research. They're going to be more likely to look for homes online, look into mortgages online. So it's going to be a digitally driven generation of home buyers. And I think that mortgage lenders and banks are all adjusting that. They're all focused on providing tools and education online that will provide them to get the answers that they're looking for when they research.
All right.
Anthony Casa, it's always great to see you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thanks,
for joining us
guys.
on Cheddar today. Anthony is the chairman at AIM. Always great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if you're looking to buy a home, a mortgage broker can help you find a great deal. Go to findamortgagebroker.com to connect with your local independent mortgage broker.